Okay, so here's the issue I'm having with tensioning tools. So, um, in general, okay, just for starters, South African based on European locks. So these our Bible's always pointing down. So you grow up used to having the key down. So when you start picking, you're going to pick with the Bible down, and even on the padlocks, with the padlocks, when the guys put a padlock on, what they are going to do is they're going to put it around that way and latch it because naturally the bitting is pointing down. So that's why a lot of guys, I mean, even Rob Lorne I was chatting to, he says he picks down, and a lot of European guys are picking down, and that's great. So, when you look at the multi-pick set, you have most of the tensioners are for picking down, to suit the European market. So, just a quick one on the locks themselves. So because when I get to a lock like that out in the wild, it's going to be like that down. So putting it in a vise isn't going to help me much. It is just not going to help. I think if you practice in a vise and then you get to a lock that's actually on a gate or something, you're not going to you're probably not going to be able to pick it because you've been practicing that way. So I don't find that these pry bars are very useful to me at all because they're more for something in a vice. So when you look at the pry bars on the 1100, if you're using a pry bar, again, so picking up that way or picking down, let me go to the 50,000s. You've got, even on the short end, and by too wide, I don't really mean the thickness. I mean this that whole bit really, really, really starts getting in the way of everything. It's a very big thing to have in a lock. And another thing by too wide, let me get something that I've made, is if I go on what you would term the bottom of the keyway, this first pin on this key is a number three pin. So it's set quite low for us. So if I get it down, let me see if I can get it down to a point where I can jiggle test it. So I've got very light tension, and I'm just moving it down. I don't know if you can see so well. It's right down there. And even then, when I jiggle test it, there's very, very little movement. So if I had something that was what I mean by wider, say for example that, I actually cannot get to it to jiggle test it because of its depth. So I don't know if I'm on the tensioner or on the key pin, or exactly where I am at, um, when it comes to that first pin, because now I'm just hitting the tensioner. Um, so that's my issue with that. So these double-ended tensioners from COVID Instruments, that's the Genesis set, but I got it as a separate set. They're great tensioners. Um, you can pick a lot that way, but say the 50,000s is also hiding the key pin. So on a very low or high set key pin, whatever you're talking about there, you're going to have trouble getting to it. So for me on this lock now, I'm trying to find a way that will work on all of them because I've got three of them, a whole set of pins, different chords, different keys. But it doesn't help to learn one lock when you can't pick them generically. This isn't such a big issue for me, the American 1100, because they're very rare here, and only on that sort of bridge did I see two of these. So they're used on the mines. I don't encounter them at all. But I mean, obviously, you want to learn how to pick them. So when we move on to the Reaper double-ended ones, the best way to demonstrate this is, now, make no mistake, McNally's done a really great job of doing these, not knocking them off at all, but they're very much only for American locks, or should I say picking up locks, because that's the way it's going to go in, right? This little bend here is really only for picking up. It doesn't work for picking down, obviously. It's for picking up, bottom of the keyway, tensioning. And then this top of the keyway tensioning is, well, I've had to modify it because, again, with the width. So what I did was I worked that down a bit, and now it's great for something like this, where, again, it's handheld. Again, you can't really get anything pry bar wise or whatever. Let's look at these ergo turners. I must admit, I'm a bit disappointed in the ergo turners on European locks or picking down. It's kind of, what you don't realize is that tension, for some reason, on an ergo turner is really, really amplified. So you're not really getting as much control switching between the two as you were just off that. When that now fits really nicely in there, and you can sort of have a bit more control over the core. I don't know if that makes any sense, but the ergo turners, I find, are they really, really amplify the tension. So it's a struggle to get, like you say, with the American 1100, to get that finesse. You can't bully it. Even this one works nicely on this 6550 to get genuine control over that core, because the core is quite light, but you do have to use very fluctuating tension on this, on the 65, all the ABUS. Also, our BBLs are like that. Another way to really demonstrate is this, now, the last of my unmolested Reaper ones. My multi-pick stuff I love, so I don't take a grinder to that, but I just, because of this whole picking up thing, I really don't mind taking a grinder and modifying your, or our, or whoever's American tensioners. So I don't have the control I have going up on the number 2 Reaper when I just need to get a locker open, as I would if I was doing it down. So now, to find a tensioner that isn't going to slip out or anything, picking or going down, I do have a lot more control over that. So I just find that, okay, this also takes a bit of practice, but anyway, works really well. You see, I cannot get that control. Now I know that the McTickler works very well on this lock, and you generally can, but I cannot do it the other way around. So there you see movement. So enough of that, on to the American 1100. And just taking the various tensioners and what's working and what's not working, because this is really a lock I want to get used to. So what I like about the multi-pick ones is that they taper from both sides. So this is really for picking up and for picking down, but then also a little bit wide, but you do have a nice amount of control over that. But you also can't see what the first pin is doing. But I have, I mean, I've managed to pick these a few times, but I haven't really. It's blind luck. It's not technique. So I haven't really, like there. I'm not really coming right. I don't know what I'm doing in there. I'm really just looking at the first pin. So that isn't working for me. The double-ended double-ended ones. The double-ended COVID instrument ones, again, when we're talking about it, they do sit a bit better, but it's that width I'm talking about. And then the champion ranges, like you mentioned, I love these. Make no mistake, Christian Holler or Decoder, who designed these, does a lot of designing for Multipick. He lives just down the road, and I'm a great Multipick fan. I only got the COVID instruments just to see what they're all about, but his stuff is good. This is really, and he just sort of quietly gets on with it. And what I have found with this, I'm actually going to use the Jimmy Longs on this, is that when I do, because you're holding it at a bit of an angle like that, not like that, then it does tend to, when you're trying to get around the first pin, I can't even find the first pin. That's how crap I am at this. I'm getting this tension is starting to move, as you can see, like that. It starts to move off a bit diagonally and then comes out. So finding a tensioner that works on this lock has been nigh on impossible. So I've just, like, since chatting to you now, realized that, this, what you consider top of the keyway tensioning, understand what you're saying about it sort of splaying out the core, which, or changing the feedback. It really makes a lot of sense to me. But you see, using the COVID instruments one, these ergo turners, because of this lip, why they have that particular lip over there, I don't know why. Because this is really for that. That's going to fit, right? But again, so that's what I mean when I say that is designed for picking up upwards, because that lip isn't going to make a problem. It's going to sit on there. But for me, it's not working at all because it then doesn't fit in there. So I've taken it off on the 50,000s one, and I've kept the little ridges and put it on there. So now I get that snug fit that you're talking about. But we are still having the challenge of dealing with and I got to say, by the way, thanks a lot. I mean, I really appreciate your time. You always take the time to help people out, and really, I know that a lot of people are not into the whole belts thing. But for those who are, I like it, and I like that you kind of see both sides of everything, and you're not really bothered about what people think. You just want to help people. So, a lot of time and respect for you. Um, and yeah, so you see, now I've got that set in the jiggle set. So this is what this jiggle test. There's not a hell of a lot of movement in there at any point. And then getting it back. I mean, I found some of these locks, you've actually got to counter rotate them with your pick. And oh, there it goes. So I think I'm going to try this for now. Make no mistake, all these things have their place, but there is a definite difference between picking a European lock or picking up and picking down when it comes to, and that's the only complaint I have with COVID instruments, is that being American, they do only picking up, and not more picking up or down like the European manufacturers. So yeah, it's a bit of a struggle at the moment. What I might even do, I mean, like the tension ranges that I got with the Echelon set are fantastic because they have the entire range. They've got that now, the one in 25,000s, which I love. But again, I very seldom pick in a vice because when I have to pick a lock, it's not going to be in a vice. It's going to be hanging on a chain or something, and they're going to say, "Well, I can't get this lock off. Please, can you?" Blah blah blah. You know the story. The only thing that's going to be in a vice is the Euro cylinders, and pretty much okay on tensioning on those. You do have to do top of the keyway here because some of the bitting here is very, very extreme. Not so much on this one, but especially on the BBLs, they've all got a gatekeeper, serious gatekeeper. So you do have to do your top of the keyway to be able to get past it and need a deeper hook. So I think it sort of describes a struggle in getting the 1105. And yeah, I find some pins, they just jiggling nicely, they're going on nicely. I don't understand. I don't understand what they are saying when they say use very light tension. I get that. Great, works on the master lock. And then just like pin by pin, go click for click for click, because that one might need only one click, but it's not giving me any feedback. Like I'm not really okay. Well, that was pin something that I just got set there. So what you're saying with use heavy tension to check, um, and then lighter tension just to kind of, I guess that's where the practice is. My problem is I've been practicing with these for a hell of a long time, and I've been practicing the same wrong thing. Very similarly to Master Lotto and the Abus Lotto, this both of which I have gotten picks, but I'm practicing the wrong thing. So it doesn't help. You can be practicing the wrong thing for 25 years and you're not going to come right, but you can practice the right thing for 5 days and you're going to get it. So I do thank you for the help. And now at least I have some starting point, because as featherlight tension, yeah, I got a few opens, but it's not really working for me. And this is something that I discovered on these. The Abus and our BBL also has the same, very much the same issues in my life, in that they they like to be fondled, really. You have to get your pin very light tension and then get the core rotation and check for the jiggle. And then on we move to the next one. So you have to actually go back on the tension to get that to set, and then see if you can get it in and get your jiggle. So it's kind of like that, except I'm getting a lot better feedback. I didn't quite get that from this than I am off the 1100. Who knows? Maybe I'm just not ready for serrated pins. I don't know. But it's bloody frustrating. That's why sometimes I just leave these aside and move on to the next one. See, I've got up to 3 there. So yeah, you see, I'm not getting. I know that pin is set, but I'm not getting a jiggle out of it. But I know it's set, so I don't fully. Oh, there we go. That one. I was actually. The warding doesn't jiggle much. That much I can tell you. The warding does not jiggle. Um, so it's kind of hard to, if you're on the warding. I'm sort of in it with this lock now, and I overset it, which is great. So now I can put it down. Actually, why I got into COVID instruments was because of this. I just genuinely love this Matickler. But yes, this one I've got a matching set, matching keys. The first one is an easy pick. This one just is giving me trouble. So who the hell knows? All right, Georgia Jim, thanks for the time, and there you have it.